send it to those who maybe missed it, just put it out there. But if by some chance you miss an email, or let's say you notice that you haven't heard from me in a while, you can always go to your announcements in Blackboard and see all of my emails that have been archived there. So you always be able to see that. So with that being said, I've sent, for those who have seen, I've sent a couple of emails. I sent one just telling you how the class is going to be handled, and one talking about Webassign and how that plays a role in the class. So let's go to that document. And of course, it's not coming up. Give me 1 second. All right, so you should have gotten this. It's talking about Webassign. For this class, we have a computer component called Webassign, wherein all of your assignments will be generated, whether it's homework or a test, whatever it is, all of your assignments will be generated through Webassign. So when we look at our first bullet, you cannot pass the course without access to Webassign. So you guys do not have to pay for that. We'll talk about how to get into it in a second. You guys don't have to pay for that. If I'm not mistaken, it's already paid through, tuition and all the stuff like that. So when you log on, that's going to be what you most definitely want to make sure you have is access to Webassign. You should be able to log on and just, see everything, all of your work. But you cannot pass the course without access to Webassign. So you can't just, sit around and wait for an assignment. Your assignments have already been created and generated, at Webassign. Let's see. To solidify your attendance. So I will be able to see some of you through Blackboard Collaborate. It's not really that easy, because let's say if you come in late, I don't mind you coming in late. Matter of fact, I encourage you, if you can make class, come into the class. But once you come in, if I'm already flowing in my lecture, then I'm not going to stop lecture to try to, get attendance or whatever. So you can solidify your attendance, or you will be solidifying your attendance through Webassign. If it's no more than just logging on, going into an assignment, saving it, and coming back out, at least do something of that nature to show that you're in class and you're doing something. And that way you have a date stamp and a time stamp on your participation or your attendance. Also, when it comes to lectures, I'm going to be recording them and then setting up a, generating a YouTube video and then sending you the link. So it may be a time where you may not make it to class, but you actually go back and look at the video, and that's fine. Even though you are expected to be here, if you're going back looking at the video, that's fine. So, but what I'm not going to do is just try to figure out, okay, who's been, attending through YouTube videos. So like I said, the best way to solidify your attendance, since you got to do Webassign anyway, is to make sure you get into Webassign weekly so that there's evidence of your participation. Let's see. And of course, for those of you who this is not your first semester, if it is your first semester, we do 5th week and 10th week grading, so or progress reports. So in that, they do ask about attendance and all the stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you are showing evidence of attendance. If you're having issues with attendance or Webassign, make sure you let me know as soon as possible. You can always email me. I do answer emails and all the good stuff like that, and we'll do whatever we can to help you get back on track. When it comes to your homework, you're supposed to have unlimited amount of attempts. Make sure, when you go in there, that is the case, so I can, change that if for some reason the course coordinator didn't, generate that properly. Look at how we're doing this grading right here for your homework. 75% to 84.9 will give you 90% of my grade book, and then 85 to 100 will give you that full 100%. So if you're trying to just get your credit, that's 75%, but if you're trying to get full credit, you want to at least shoot for 85. Okay. Somebody, one of your classmates, was texting me, not texting, but emailing me. I'll get to them in a second. Now, that's just for your homework. Now, when it comes to test reviews for each test, I will generate a text review. They're not mandatory for you to do, so if you don't do them, you're not penalized. But if you score 85% or higher on it, I can add 5 points to that test, that respective test. Yep. So once again, they're not mandatory, but what I would do is I would suggest that you at least go in and look at it. It will streamline your studies. It will help you understand or know what actually is on the test itself. So if nothing else, go back and look at it, even if you don't do it. And they're set up like homeworks. You can do those unlimited amount of trials as well. Some of your tests will be accessible, on your own. You can do it at home. I mean, not do it at home. Of course, you're doing all the stuff at home, but do it on your own without any type of password needed or any proctoring by me. So for those tests, you will get 2 attempts to get the best grade possible. Now for your tests, notice I didn't mention any grading or sliding grading scale. That grade is what it is. So if you get a 75 on a test, then it's a 75. It's just the homework that we're looking at, and we say 75 to 84.9 and so on. So, and then for any test that you submit, whether it's proctored or not, then shoot me an email of your scratch work. So any test that you submit, you will shoot me an email of your scratch work. All right, so any questions on that document before we go on to anything else? All right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate y'all responding. That makes things way easier when somebody says something to me. Trust me, there's been classes when I say any questions, and I'm just sitting there, they just sitting there, and so I appreciate y'all responding. So let's go to actually trying to log on to Webassign. All right. All right, here we go. So here you see the Webassign link. It's under your course information in Blackboard. You just go into Blackboard and click on Webassign. All right, just waiting for it to come up. All right, so and that's it. You see all of our homework assignments. We're starting in chapter 7, and notice chapter 7's test has already been posted. And so I'm going to give you that one that you can take on your own without me doing anything. All right, somebody saying something in the chat. Let me get there. I'm just getting out of my other class. Connection bad. Okay, great. All right, not a problem. Appreciate you letting me know. All right, so, and you see I have my roster of 30 students, so you should be already in there. So all you have to do is go in, log on. It may ask you for login information initially, something like that, but you shouldn't have to pay for it. Like I said, I already got you in there. If you registered after I populated, I may have to repopulate because what probably happened is somebody dropped and then you got in or something like that. So I do need to repopulate the roster to make sure everybody's in there that's current. But that's how it's supposed to work. You guys are supposed to just be able to log in and be okay. It should be the same as your NSU credentials. Yes, should be the same. The only thing, like I said, that may prevent you from logging in if you registered, I won't say late, but registered recently, is that I may have exported the roster after or before you registered. And then somebody may have dropped and then you may have got in. Just different things could happen. So I'll repopulate the roster this evening. If you, for some reason, when you click on it, it's just not letting you in. So give me a chance to do that. And if you are having issues, like I said before, make sure you email me so that we can make sure you're straight. But yeah, so those are your homework. That's how your homeworks will be listed. Now notice the due date says May 7th. Right now, I mean that's the furthest we going out as far as our class is concerned. Yep, May 7th. Um, so right now, in other words, we don't have a due date. So as we get to closing out chapter 7's lectures, that's when we'll, reset the due date for chapter 7's content. So on next class, we'll go over the first section, 7.1. Nothing will be due by the class afterwards. So what's going to happen is when we get closer to closing out chapter 7's content, then I'll put a due date out there. And so everything from chapter 7 will be due by that due date. So each due date that we have, there will be a block of content that's due. So then the next due date will be for chapter 9's, work and so on. So and we'll just adjust the dates as we progress throughout the course. Questions. And the only reason I do that is because it's easier to adjust the dates as we progress versus having a due date out there and then people rushing to get this stuff done by the due date and then say, well, looking at where we are, we need to extend it a little bit because we didn't make it, so instead of doing all that, we'll just adjust it as we get closer to closing out chapter 7. All right. All right, cool. Everybody's okay with that. Any questions? Any questions before I go to the next thing? Question on the website. Okay, appreciate it. Now, um, I know when you talk about math, a lot of people have these hurdles that they have to jump. Um, hey, there you go right there. How difficult is the math? So a lot of times when people come into the classroom, and I'll hit that question in a second, but it all ties in. They come into a math class saying, first of all, either they don't want to do it because that's just, most people aren't built to want to do math. They just, they got other things to do, right? Second thing is that some people just feel like they can't do it. So those are two hurdles. And now you're dealing with this idea of learning online. And a lot of people feel like I can't learn online. So I have no choice at this point. Yeah, pretty much that's how we all are relegated to. Now, what I want to do is make sure we understand that there is a difference between learning online and learning virtually. So we are going to be learning virtually. So there's a difference there. Let me share this screen. So learning online, pretty much means, hey, you may hear from me, you may not, you may see me, you may not. I'll send you emails, I'll send you videos, and you pretty much learn it on your own. But we are learning virtually, and this is how, we were discussing, everything. I'll be talking real time, I'll be writing on, my board. You'll be listening, writing, you can interject, you can ask questions, you can ask me to repeat, so just letting you know that, or try to reassure you that the experience that you're going to have here is going to be the same experience that you would in the classroom. The only difference is that, I'm in my room and you're in your room. Now, you may hear, my 3-year-old may come in and tell me how she got to use the bathroom. That happened last class. So, and I might try to shoo her away. That's the only difference. But outside of that, the actual learning experience is going to be the same. You can still ask questions. You can, you know, ask me to slow up, ask me to re-explain. All of that's going to happen real time. You hear me now. I'm talking to you now, interacting with you now. So I want to try to remove at least that hurdle that this is going to be, this thing where you sit back learning on your own, and I'm not here to do the same things that I would be doing if we were in class face to face. Also, it gives us a little more flexibility because, those 10 minutes that you would need to travel to the next class, you don't need them because all you're doing is clicking the button. If you need it to ask questions, you can ask those questions. Even office hours, instead of setting office hours, I found that it was easier last semester to just tell you, hey, email me and we can set up a time when you're free. Let's talk about when I'm free and let's make a time so that, it's about an individual anyway. So if you need help outside of class, and I will have plenty of opportunities during class to ask questions, but if you need help outside of class or you just don't want to talk about it in front of everybody, shoot me an email and then we can set up a time to meet, one-on-one, whether it be through Zoom or Blackboard Collaborate. I may be switching to Zoom. I think I will be just because it's just easier for, the sharing and the platform is a little easier than Blackboard. Blackboard Collaborate is a little clunky at times. And I found that I've had more issues with people getting on to Blackboard Collaborate than I've had with Zoom. And so I'm probably going to switch to Zoom. So look out for that email, in which I would just erase the Blackboard Collaborate link and then send you the Zoom links, or the Zoom link, and we'll just meet through Zoom, and that's been easier. And that was actually easier for a few people last semester that I met with through, for office hours versus Blackboard Collaborate. But I didn't know that Zoom was an option last semester, so we did everything through Blackboard Collaborate last semester outside of office hours. Going into that, like I mentioned, I'm going to record every lecture, and then I will generate a copy of it. Generate that link through YouTube and then send that to you guys. Also, what I'm going to do is send you a copy of all. Well, I'm gonna try to. I got to see about going to the library, but sending you a copy of all the links from last semester's 103 class, so that if anybody wanted to move ahead, you have that option as well. And then that'll help as well. If for some reason something's not recorded this semester, you can always reference those. So you have that in your back pocket as well. Questions. All right. Looks like everybody's good. Everybody's straight. Cool, cool, cool. Your syllabus, I'm going to post sometime soon. But I pointed out the main things that, because I know when it comes to the syllabus, some of us read it, some of us don't. I pointed out the things you most definitely need to know. That's why I gave them to you in a separate document. That's why I gave you that instead of the syllabus first, because there were certain things that you need to know, like about Webassign and, attendance and everything. So that those things you got to know. So the syllabus I'll send to you shortly. Just posted in Blackboard. Let's see. Anything else? I think that is it. Mm, 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 mm. Guys, I think I am good. So if you have any questions, always make sure you email me and we'll make sure that you are straight moving forward. Your main thing now is to make sure you have access to WebAssign so that if you do not, we can try to get you straight. And, come Tuesday, you'll be able to flow with the lectures and everything like that. Oh, also the way we are pacing and everything, you are expected to, keep up with the lecture to the best of your ability. You don't want to be like, if I'm in you started off chapter 7 to go to chapter 9, I think then it goes to chapter 10. You don't want to be in chapter 10 and you're still in chapter 7. You know what I mean? So you want to, try to keep pace with the lectures, even though I'm not saying, hey, when we cover 7.1, 7.1 is due by next class. You still want to be, working on your homework as we progress throughout the course. So if you ever want to know if you're up to, to par with the course, then you just say, okay, well, what lecture are we on? So we're in 9.1, then you want to be trying to close out chapter 7 so you can get into 9, and keep up with the lecture of the class. So those type of things are the things you want to have in mind, when fifth week grades come up and when 10th week grades come up, and you want to make sure that I'm giving a progress report that, you can be cool with and your parents can be cool with and all the stuff like that. So those are the things and then if you're having issues, once again, communication is going to be key. So we can make sure that we have you where you want to be when it comes to the class. Oh yeah, I meant to ask somebody say how difficult is it math? Um, it's not the worst in the world. I mean, I think it's okay. I don't think it's 103, so it's the next is after 101. So no, I don't think it's bad at all. As a matter of fact, the content is set up in such a way that we'll have extra time on the back end, wherein I'll just be answering questions. I won't even be doing, the whole course isn't set up so that I'm always hitting you guys with new lecture. There will be time at the end where we'll have free time to just be answering questions. And as I was happening the last, you know, 3, 4, 5 semesters, I've always had time on the back end where I wasn't teaching anything new and people just asking questions, come to class, ask questions, and go from there. So I don't think this is the most, difficult math course. I think you'll be all right. I think it's all right. All you gotta do, the main thing is, make sure you come to, hit them lectures, whether you come to class or Lord's willing. And the way my class is set up, if you do what you're supposed to do, it's really hard to fail my classes. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you do all your homework, and let's say your test score is around 60, you still can pass with a C because your homework can bring it up. Um, yeah, it's kind of hard to fail my class. Most people fail my classes because they didn't do the work, you know, or so yeah, of course you got to do work in anybody's class if you're trying to pass it. So most people fail my classes when they don't do versus somebody did everything and then they just failed because they didn't score well or whatever. So it's real important that if you're having trouble getting decent grades, that you communicate so we can try to get you, in a good space. And try to we had to meet separate from the class, and that's fine. Say login website with your NSU because it's in trouble signing in. Okay, so let me reset or repopulate the roster and see if that's your issue. If you try logging in with your NSU credentials and it won't let you, let me try to reset the roster and then go from there. So I can't do it right now because we're in class or whatever. But let me reset. Um, Somebody said they had to register for it to work. Okay, so maybe that's what it is. But I know, bottom line, you don't have to pay for it. I know that for a fact. You don't have to pay for it. So maybe you do have to go in and register, and and go from there. But your names are in there. And, I showed you guys how I said 30 students on the roster. So your names are in there. Maybe, you just need to register with your NSU stuff, and then it'll give you that full access that you need. All right. Anything else? Anybody else before we look to close out? Is everybody good? All right. And so I said it on it now. Okay, cool, cool. All right. Yeah, I try to be cool. Like I said, I'm not going to make this any harder than what it has to be. Um, I want you all to pass. Bottom line. But of course, outside of doing the work for you, outside of doing the work for you, you know what I mean. I want you guys to pass and be successful and go on. Yeah, just
Hello. Can I
hey,
speak to you after class?
nah, yeah, sure, that's cool. Um, so yeah, I'll stay back for you. Anything else? Anybody else before we close? Everybody good? Everybody straight? All right, cool, cool. So with that being said, I will see you guys. Oh, somebody putting the Instagram up there, IG. Okay, cool. So with that being said, I will see you guys on next class. It says no. Oh, y'all talking to y'all. I think y'all talking to me. Y'all talking to yourselves. Outside of that, I will see you guys on next class. Have a good one. Oh, also, when you're talking about individual Zoom sessions, if y'all end up having a study group, of maybe 4 or 5 of y'all, and y'all want to meet in a Zoom session or whatever, then let me know about that. We can do that as well. Outside of that, though, you guys have a great one. Be safe. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday. Look forward to a great semester with you guys. All right. Have a good one. I mean, I guess after y'all finish sharing your IG info.
All right,
All
man.
right.
Have a good one.
You do the same.
All right.
Let me start with the share. All right. So I didn't catch, because I was sharing my screen, I didn't catch who needed to see me or hear from me. Not that says he seemed but needed to talk to me. Sorry about that. All right. You still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. All right. So let's see. All right. So let me stop this recording.